Hello and welcome to Bloke on the Spam Range. I'm still here in Italy and I've got Kevin's SLR. Now these are perfectly legal in Italy, and in fact this one is a BSA made one, which makes it a defensive weapon, hunting weapon, can't remember. An Enfield one is surprisingly a different legal category in licensing. Because Italy? Anyway, right, this is a lovely example of what Enfield does or did well. Now, one thing that Enfield was very good at was taking existing designs and then tweaking them. And right back to, well, the Longley Enfield was, or Longley Metford, Longley Enfield were basically based on Remington Lee actions and then tweaked and perfected. It might have taken them a while in that case, but they ended up with really good rifles. This is the English version of the FN FAL, and most of what they did to it was good. There's a couple of slightly iffy things in my humble opinion, but the vast majority of it was good. Now, so for those who are unaware of the FAL, it's a sort of the first generation of modern, really modern rifles after the Second World War. There's an intermediate one, an SAFN 1949, which uses more or less the same action but in a wooden stock with a fixed 10-round magazine loaded with stripper clips, and they sold that in all kinds of cartridges like 7mm Mauser, 8mm Mauser, 3006, 7.62 NATO as well. Now the FAL is the update of that, brings it into the 1950s with a hinged receiver like that. So just a quick overview of the action first for those that are unaware. The top cover is not structural, that just comes off. We've got a very simple bolt and carrier that come out. It's very similar to a Tokarev or some of the French semi-auto rifles from just before and just after World War II. The bolt there, the back end of it is cammed in and out of engagement with that locking shoulder there. Now, because the locking's at the rear, the entire upper receiver is machined from solid. It's some people seem to think that they're pressed steel, but they're not, because that bit there needs to be intimately connected with the barrel. And that's it. I mean, for a basic field strip, it doesn't get any easier than that. And just pretty much two movements, and you can open it up and get the bolt and carrier out. It will actually run without the top cover. The top cover is really just to keep dust out. Now, when they put scopes on them later, the suit sight, they were on a replaced top cover. There's always a bit of risk of wobble there. So the gas system is equally quite simple. You press in a plunger, turn it, I can never remember which way, one way, not that way, and then we try and avoid playing, this one's still warm, we try and avoid playing piston mortar, and the piston just comes out. It's pretty standard stuff, no real surprises in there. By turning this around, we can turn the gas off, which is for launching old school rifle grenades or for tricking people because it ups the felt recoil. And there's no primary extraction, so they can be a bit of a sod to cycle. Gas regulator here, this is something that Enfield did well. It's an exhaust system, as it is on the original FAL, and I suspect this one hasn't been cleaned for a while. But by turning it, you can increase or decrease the amount of gas that doesn't go to the piston, so it shoots up and out. And this one has 11, 12 settings. You can have it totally open like that. And this can be used to vary the amount of gas depending on the conditions. 6 is a normal number. So that's something they did well. The metric FAL has fewer options. You've only got 3 or 4 or 5, possibly 6, I can't remember. Anyway, the barrels are fairly light. They've got a pretty efficient, this one's got the later 3-port flash suppressor, bayonet mount for a British style Bowie blade bayonet. This has got the later plastic furniture on it, which, well, as with most plastic furniture, it doesn't free float or anything, it just fits around the gas block. Plastic, but plastic pistol grip. Now, things that are good about this, compared to, in my humble opinion, compared to metric FALs, the shape of this stock is just brilliant. They did a real good number. They really got this bang on. And then, if I come over this side of Kevin, so you can see this, side of the rifle, we can see the bits that are real improvements. So, firstly, the charging handle. This is a folding charging handle. On the metric ones, it's fixed, and the problem with that is, if you're patrolling along, it can get caught in your equipment and cause you difficulties. This is not only a folding charging handle, it's a self-folding charging handle. Hold my tea and watch this. Folds itself up. Next good thing, the mag release. If we put the mag in, this is a massive mag release button that falls directly under your left thumb. You just put your thumb on the mag and press. In the metric ones, it's a much smaller lever further back. You've really got to reach for it. Another thing they did well, the safety catch. It's a big lever. You can quite comfortably patrol along with your thumb on it, and then flick it off, and then you can keep your thumb on it. It's quite comfortable. Keep your thumb on it to shoot. Now, this is interesting because this has this is an early one. This is a BSA 1959. It's still got an auto notch. Now, another thing that they did that was fairly sensible, I'm a bit neutral on the idea, is that they disabled the automatic fire feature. And the end of the safety catch there has a big nub that comes against the upper receiver to stop it being pushed further round. And in fact, inside the system doesn't have the required cam notches to run full auto anyway, but it's a good positive point, good positive stop to put your thumb on it. Something they did less well is they eliminated the last round hold open. So this rifle will, on an empty mag, that is the magazine, sorry, the bolt hold open and bolt release. So if this is the same as on the metric FAL. In fact, the metric FAL ones are longer, or sorry, there's a pin in there in a slot that's a little longer and will act on the magazine floor plate so as to automatically hold the bolt open. They deleted that, and I wonder why. I've not found out why. I'm sure someone in the comments who's got the relevant book will be able to tell me, but I suspect it might have been something to do with overstressing the receiver and possibly receiver cracking from the bolt hammering the stop. Simple solution to that is just to not have the automatic stop. So bolt release, you press it down. To hook open, it falls under the little finger quite handily. So yeah, now the sights are a mixed bag. The front sight is longer and thinner. It's rather more Lee Enfield dimension, slightly, at least on the blade, compared to the metric FAL. And this is adjustable for elevation by loosening off that little grub screw there, twisting this half turns, tightening it back up. Windage is on the back. This they've taken over from the metric FAL. And these sights are higher than most metric FALs. The Israeli ones are similar. They've got longer, skinnier sights. And personally, I find that these give a better sight picture, but it might just be that I grew up with Lee Enfield, so slightly thinner blades is what I'm used to. Now, for elevation, this is stiff. It's a slide, and we were set to 3 or 4 before, so we're from 300 to 600 yards, and the Brits were still thinking of fire up to 600 yards at this point, and it's kind of tricky to get it just right. And then that, I think, was a bad move. I mean, it's kind of handy that it's out the way, but then you need to flick it up to use it. It's part of the drill. I mean, even in the SA-80 drill era, when I was trained on SA-80 as a poxy UOTC cadet, it was always, when the SA-80 safety catch change lever does cover sights, and the sights part comes from the fact that they would fold that down until needing it. But this just introduces a possibility for wobble. This one's not too bad, but some of them are really quite bad. The aperture size is good. There are also ones called Hythe sights that have 2 different size apertures, and they were always favoured by unit shooting teams because the smaller aperture was really very good, and then the big aperture was a ghost ring for night fighting or quick aiming. But other than that, it's a really nice rifle, and the ergonomics are improved as far as I'm concerned over the metric FAL. But then there's a few bits that they got wrong. On the metric FAL with this, the sights are lower and it's not folding, so it's going to be more stable. In fact, possibly the Dutch even got it best with that, because some of their ones, it's well protected and it's not elevation adjustable. It's just a 300 meter fixed 0. Perhaps they were a bit forward thinking on that. Anyway, enough blah blah. Let's make it talk. So I'm just gonna put the rifle in as if it's fired an empty mag. So we'd take out the old magazine, new magazine in, cock, and then get some. Red. This rifle just fits me really, really well. I mean, it's just, I'm having no problem. Okay, they're not massively small targets. They're, what are we? Probably about 40 yards, 50 yards from 12-inch plates, and I'm knocking him offhand without any issues whatsoever, because it just fits me. It just feels comfortable. And okay, they're not as inherently accurate as a Lee Enfield No. 4, for instance, but then they fit you so well that you can shoot quickly and accurately. Oh, I missed. And then we're out. Something had to go wrong finally. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please consider supporting us on Patreon. And thanks very much to Spam Shooting for the use of their range, Kev for the use of his rifle, and to my patrons who have been very generous and have made this trip possible. Bye.